job, bro.
Look, man, you get your arm ready, all right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
I got you.
Okay?
I got you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a current Saints player recruiting one of the top quarterback prospects in this year's draft in Shedeur Sanders, as the Saints continue to search for their long-term answer at the quarterback position. However, though, a Saints insider and reporter says the team may not even be interested in Shedeur Sanders, even if he somehow fell to the 9th overall pick. We got a very interesting situation developing here between the Saints and the quarterback position going into the offseason. And we're here to talk about it. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. We're trying to hit 10K this year. I'd appreciate it. 72% of you who watch these videos aren't subscribed. Double check, it's free and it helps me and the channel out a lot. And make sure to like the video. Shedeur Sanders is one of the top prospects in the 2025 NFL draft class. And it definitely helps that he's at a position that everyone in the NFL values, which is the quarterback position. And if you don't got a good quarterback, your team likely isn't that good. And for a long time, a lot of people thought that Shedeur Sanders was going to be the first overall pick in this year's draft class. But as things have developed over time, it does seem to look like Cam Ward is going to be the first quarterback drafted in 2025, maybe even the first player drafted in 2025. As of recently, there have been a lot of negative reports and buzz around Shedeur Sanders and his draft stock after the combine. This first report came from Tony Pauline saying Shedeur Sanders' draft stock has slid a little bit and the 6th overall pick is the earliest that he could be drafted. Teams are cooling on Shedeur Sanders for a number of reasons. The first being that Sanders showed little to no improvement in his game last season and made some poor choices. People are also a little turned off by the antics since January. This is just one of the many reports basically downplaying Shedeur Sanders' game and his personality. This other one came from Josina Anderson saying the QB coach in the NFL picking in the top 7 of the draft criticized Shedeur Sanders for being arrogant and brash in team interviews. And this one we got right here, there were 2 teams that are picking in the top 10 and have a need at quarterback that left their 15-minute meeting feeling as if Shedeur Sanders did not care too much what they or the organization felt of him. Another report from yesterday came out that a QB coach felt Shedeur Sanders came off as arrogant and brash, as we just went over. There's been so much reports kind of just downplaying and giving this dude crap for his personality and being who he is and being a confident individual. Some of it I understand. I can understand maybe some people feel like he's arrogant, like flexing your watch to a student section after a game doesn't make any sense to me, but a lot of this does seem excessive. He could be arrogant, but also too, I just think the guy has confidence, and I don't think there's anything wrong with having a quarterback who's confident in himself. It's better than having to install confidence in your quarterback. Quarterback who's confident is a skill and a trait that not everyone has, and it's something great quarterbacks must have. And I'm not saying he's going to be great, but it's a trait and a skill that I personally think is valuable. But he does have a target on his back though because of who he is and who his dad is and his personality. When he was doing some media interviews at the NFL Combine, he was asked about being picked in the top part of the draft and having to rebuild, and his response to that was, "We went to Jackson State, we went to Colorado and changed 2 programs back to back. You don't think I could come to an NFL franchise and change a program again? It's history, it's always going to repeat itself."
I've been through 6 different OCs, so I'm able to adjust to any offense and every scheme and make it work. We went from Jackson State to Colorado and changed 2 programs back to back. So you don't think I could come to an NFL franchise and change a program again? It's history. We done it again. It's always going to repeat itself.
And it's comments like this where I think it's confident. I think that's a good answer, and I think that that's what you want to hear from your quarterback. But it's answers like this that have people wondering and thinking that this dude's arrogant and too arrogant for the NFL level, which in my opinion is BS. Like I already said, does he have arrogance? Sure. But that can be viewed as confidence, and to me, I just think it's a guy who believes in himself and what he's doing. And I'm just not quite sure the harsh reports have been completely fair to him, a simple, 22-year-old draft prospect? So with all these rumors and reports recently, the draft stock of Shedeur Sanders is starting to fall. Could he possibly fall to the 9th overall pick to the New Orleans Saints? We have a clip of current Saints tight end Juwan Johnson possibly recruiting Shedeur Sanders to the Saints, or possibly telling him to get ready to throw him the ball. I really don't know what the event was. I don't know if this was at the combine or something, but Juwan Johnson met up with Shedeur Sanders and told him to get his arm ready. Let's watch the clip.
On TikTok, bro. Oh, bro. I always see him on TikTok, bro.
He knows Juwan Johnson as TikTok boy and not the NFL tight end.
Man, you get your arm ready, all right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Get your arm ready? Is he trying to tell him, like, you're going to be throwing me the ball? I don't know. I don't know. As of right now, Juwan Johnson is on the Saints. And I really don't know what to make of this clip and what he's telling Shedeur Sanders, but I do think it is something. It is important to note that Juwan Johnson, though, will be a free agent this offseason, and if he isn't re-signed by the Saints, he will be free agent on Wednesday. He will be a free agent and able to talk to other teams on Monday, and then officially a free agent on Wednesday. So Juwan Johnson may not even be on the Saints in 2025, and maybe he's talking to Shedeur Sanders, telling him to get his arm ready for when they can connect and play together on the Titans or the Browns or the Giants. I'm really not too sure. But as of right now, he's on the Saints. He's telling Shedeur Sanders to get his arm ready, and I find that very interesting. The Saints did meet with the quarterback Shedeur Sanders at the NFL Combine, according to Nick Underhill. After it was reported that the Saints met with Cam Ward as well, someone asked if he had heard anything about the Saints meeting with Shedeur Sanders, because there's a video of him with the Saints that we'll dive into that in just a second, and Nick Underhill just confirmed that the Saints did in fact meet with Shedeur Sanders. And here's the clip that guy was talking about. Shedeur Sanders, someone got footage of him walking around and he had some hats on his backpack, and the Saints were one of them. Here's a good angle. We got a Saints hat right here. I believe that's a Vikings hat and a Browns hat. And I'm assuming once they meet with the team, they give him a hat or something. I'm assuming this was after they met. I'm just taking a guess. That could be the context behind this video. Now, the Saints meeting with Shedeur Sanders, I think, does mean something. You don't draft a quarterback that you haven't met with. And considering where the Saints quarterback situation is, they better be meeting with the top quarterback prospects of every single draft class until they find their long-term answer at the position. Teams can only meet with 45 players in formal meetings, and the Saints met with Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. That is something to note. But when it comes to the Saints drafting Shedeur Sanders, and if he falls to pick 9, Saints insider and reporter Nick Underhill does not believe the Saints would draft him right now if he fell to the 9th overall pick. Make sure you guys go check out their YouTube channel, show them some support. This was their latest podcast on Monday, talking about the Saints meeting with Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, on March 3rd, I would say the Saints would not draft Shedeur if he were there at 9.
I don't know if I would agree with that. I don't agree with not taking him. I agree with Nick Underhill in what he's saying. I just don't agree with the Saints not taking him at pick 9 if he is available. But, he's an insider. He hears everything. And as of right now, he doesn't think they draft Shedeur Sanders.
April 24th, things can change by then. But I don't think he would be the pick there at 9. I don't know if he'd be the pick on the swing, honestly, in the second round. I don't know.
Not picking him in the second round would be insane to me. That's just my opinion. If he's there in the second round at pick 40, you should be drafting him. That's just what I think. I'd pick him. I'd maybe pick him at 9. I could understand not picking him at 9, but if he's there at 40, you got to take him.
I have questions about it as we sit here today. I think the only quarterback they would draft as we sit here today, like early on, is Cam Ward. I think that's the only one.
I feel like Cam Ward is the only quarterback any team in the NFL right now would pick at number 1. That's just my thoughts.
Out of the trio that they would take early on. Again, things change. You get desperate. You get QB insecurity. Things don't work with Carr. Like all of a sudden, you got a need. You got to cut him. Like a lot could change in that. But I think as we sit here on March 3rd, I don't see that. I don't see that pick happening at 9. But yeah, you have to do your homework on him.
Pretty crazy that they wouldn't pick Shedeur Sanders if he was there at 9, possibly even 40. Especially given where the Saints quarterback situation is, you have to take a chance on some guys early on, and it just doesn't seem like they want to. The Saints team in general just needs a lot to fix, and as of right now, I think Ashton Jeanty is going to be the pick at number 9 if he is available. But if Shedeur Sanders is there, it could be a big mistake if they pass on him. That's just my opinion, though. I don't know if the Saints are in a position, though, to be passing on Shedeur Sanders if he's available at pick 9 or to even pick 40, which I don't think he will be. The Saints currently have Derek Carr on the team as their starting quarterback. They're still figuring out his contract situation. Spencer Rattler is the backup quarterback who a lot of people have some hopes for. A lot of coaches like to view him as a future starter in the NFL, but does he develop into one? Then there's Jake Haener and Ben DiNucci, who are also on the team, but who knows if they'll be on the roster come training camp or September. There's a lot of questions to be answered about the Saints quarterback room, and them passing on Shedeur Sanders would be pretty crazy to me, which leaves me with questions about why was Juwan Johnson telling him to get his arm ready? Was it just get your arm ready to throw out whatever event they were at, or get your arm ready to throw me the ball in New Orleans, or get that arm ready to throw me the ball when we're on the Titans together or something like that, or the Giants, who knows? But one thing I do know, the Saints need to figure out their quarterback situation, because this quarterback carousel has been going on for way too long. Let me know down in the comments if you think the Saints should draft Shedeur Sanders if he's there, and what you make of this Juwan Johnson recruiting video. Is that for the Saints or is that for another team? Let me know down in the comments. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good one. Peace.